According to the U.S. Department of Education, this is the official United States government website, by the way. The press release title for this article says, U.S. Department of Education continues to improve federal student loan repayment options, addresses illegal Biden administration actions. And right here, y'all, this is the part that I need y'all to pay attention to. Loans in the SAVE plan will begin accruing interest on August 1st. And you want to know why this is crazy? Because this was just released on July 9th, 2025. There's only a few weeks until August 1st. And it goes on to say, borrowers in SAVE urged to act. You're probably like, urged to act? What does that mean? Urged to probably pay, because what else are they supposed to do? And just to give a little bit of detail, there was actually a court process that was going on in regards to this whole SAVE Act. So let's get into the article. The U.S. Department of Education announced it will take an additional step to bring fiscal responsibility to the federal student loan portfolio by restarting interest accrual for borrowers with loans in the illegal Savings on a Valuable Education, also known as SAVE plan, on August 1st, 2025. Not the U.S. Department of Education being shady. Illegal is wild. This is a heads up that the interest will start to accrue on those loans in the SAVE plan. And this could be a big deal for a lot of people who have student loans, because many of them are currently in forbearance, and they were using this act to help them out, give them a little buffer and a little bit more time to repay on those student loan payments. But let's just look at this logically. If somebody gave someone $200, and we're just going to go with that, and you were told, hey, you don't have to worry about the payment right now, and while you're not worrying about the payment, you also don't have to worry about the interest that you normally have to worry about. If you're going through some hard times, which a lot of Americans are that are in student loan debt, this incentivizes many people to prolong the process of paying back their loans, even while in deferment. Now, I want you all to think about it like this, because this is the perspective of a lot of people who have these student loans, and this is the struggle they're experiencing. Yeah, they said, hey, you can keep that $200. Don't worry about paying me back right now, but I'm going to tack on interest on the $200, whether you pay me right now or not. If you don't start paying on that interest and that total amount, what ends up happening is you end up getting a whole new loan amount. And the next month, you're going to be charged interest on that total amount, because now they're tacking on interest each month. This is like compounding interest on a student loan month after month, the longer you push it back. And this is why a lot of people are very upset about the SAVE plan. Some people might stay in debt longer than they were expecting to, because as I said earlier, this was very out of nowhere. Yes, the court cases happened and all of that. But I mean, as far as that being implemented on August 1st, I'm not sure that anyone saw that coming. And with that, comment down below, are you in the SAVE plan, and how is this affecting you if you are? Do you know anybody that is? Now let's continue. The department will take this action to comply with a federal court injunction that has blocked implementation of the SAVE plan, including the department's action to put SAVE borrowers in a 0% interest rate status. Now, the SAVE plan gave the authority to pause the interest on those student loans, to stop account balances from growing more and more. But once the courts blocked the SAVE plan, all of that authority went out the window. And here's why I say that. The department had the authority under the SAVE plan to prevent borrowers from going into negative amortization, which is the authority the department relied on to put borrowers in 0% interest rate status. Outside of that regulatory provision in SAVE, which is enjoined, the department lacks the authority to put borrowers in a 0% interest rate status, which essentially means their hands are tied. Like, there's really nothing they can do about it if they wanted to, because this is now a legal matter. Like, hey, we got to do what we got to do, because as it says here, they lack the authority to put them in the 0% interest rate status. Now, my next question is this, before we get into how many people this is going to affect. Do you think that the courts got it wrong? Or do you agree with the court's decision? Now let's go on to talk about how many people this actively is going to affect. Now it goes on to say, millions of borrowers enrolled in the Biden administration's SAVE plan based on false promises of loan cancellation and 0 monthly payments, despite federal courts striking down such policies. And it goes on to say that the Trump administration will support borrowers in selecting a new legal repayment plan that fits their needs and helps them get on a sustainable financial path while protecting American taxpayers. So what I gather from what they just said is essentially that wasn't supposed to be happening, because they're saying now that they're going to try to find legal ways for people to repay back their student loans. And after that, y'all, it says something very important. It says the department will begin direct outreach to nearly 7.7 million borrowers enrolled in the SAVE plan. with instructions on how to move a legal repayment plan so borrowers can begin making qualified payments. Now, the part I want to point out is that in the article, it states that they want people to get on a sustainable financial path while protecting American taxpayers. And I'm pointing this out because I'm not sure that there will be more pauses or more help when it comes to student loans. The best thing I think a lot of people can do in this situation is do what's best for them, contact whoever they have their loans with, and try to figure out what is best for their pockets, because now you're getting hit with this interest whether you pay it or not. And like I said, it's compounding every month. So it may be in a lot of people's best interest to look at those student loans and try to find something that really works for them. And by no means am I saying that student loan repayment won't never happen. I don't know. But I'm saying for these next 4 years, it's looking like all these pauses and forbearance and deferments aren't going to end up in the best interest of the people who are doing that with their student loans. It's not looking very lenient from what I'm reading. And with that being said, I got another question. Do you think that this is too strict? Do you think that this ignores the cries of a lot of people who are saying that, hey, they're struggling with student loan repayments in the first place? The economy is not the best. People are struggling. I'd like to know what you think about it down below. Moving along, it says here in the next steps, borrowers in the SAVE plan will see their loan balances grow when interest starts accruing on August 1st. When the SAVE plan forbearance ends, borrowers will be responsible for making monthly payments that include any incurred interest as well as their principal amounts. And this is what I was talking about, y'all. That compound interest is going to eat a lot of people up. For example, if you are going to be in forbearance until December and you're like, hey, I'm not going to make no payments, it's not going to matter. They're going to start tacking on that interest August 1st, whether you pay or not. Then come December, when you're out of forbearance or whenever it's time for you to come pay your loan, you're going to have all these interest charges that you weren't expecting. So get prepared, y'all. Don't just sweep this under the rug, y'all. It's not going anywhere. And y'all, this is another very important part of the article. It says here, SAVE plan borrowers working towards legal loan discharges, such as through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, must switch out of the SAVE plan to an alternative IDR repayment plan, which is also known as the income-driven repayment plan, to start making qualifying payments, essentially stating that many people are going to have to switch out of this program. Now, going forward, it says here on July 4th, President Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act into law, which includes a new income-based repayment assistance plan that will be available for borrowers July 1st, 2025. And that is very important because that's a year from now. All of this stuff that I just told you is going into effect August 1st, 2025. So that might be a great option for a lot of people in 2026. But in the meantime, a lot of people are in the SAVE plan. They can't afford to put their head in the sand until 2026. You have to start acting now because this goes into effect August 1st, a few weeks from now. Again, now let's talk about the collections part of this article. It says here the department resumed collections on May 5th after a 5-year hiatus and has emailed more than 23 million borrowers, reminding them of their legal obligation to repay their loans as well as the benefits of making regular progress towards repayment. And I did a whole video about this. Actually, I probably did two at this point. I did the one warning people that, hey, on May 5th, people who were delinquent in their student loans and hadn't paid for a certain amount of time were going to start facing things like wage garnishments, losing access to government assistance and programs and things of that sort. So go back and check that video out. But what's crazy about that and what I just said is it states here in this new article that the department expects administrative wage garnishments to begin later this summer. Y'all, later this summer. A lot of people have been like, oh no, they're not going to get me. I'm not going to pay. If you work a job, I keep stressing this. Your HR department already know what to do. They do it for people who owe child support. You ain't no different. Whenever you register or you sign up to work at that job, you give them your social security and all of that, you already locked in. They already know where to find you. They know where to take the money from, and they know you're working. Unless you're going to work under the table, I'm not sure how you're going to get out of it. And I wish you the best if that's what you're trying to do. But it states here that the garnishments are going to begin late this summer. It's in the fine print. And that is why I wanted to read this, because I'm not sure a lot of people know that this is coming. I don't want anybody out there to be caught slipping uninformed, because the information is out here on the internet. Now, y'all know I had to take it to TikTok to see what are people's thoughts on the SAVE plan and the fact that it will now start to incur interest on these loans. Now, I want to point out a few things that's already very interesting about this video. It says here at the top, Student aid tip. Making payments while you are in a deferred or forbearance can save you money in interest. And y'all, this woman right here has 23 loans. Let's see what's going on. Her total balance says $307,000. Whoa, bless her heart.
I've accrued almost $100,000 worth of interest from my student loans. And how much more interest money does the federal government want from me? So if you haven't seen thus far, if you're in the SAVE plan, they've just announced as of today, July 9th, that they are going to be reactivating the accrual of interest starting August 1st. So again, less than a month away from today. But I really don't know how much more interest I can continue to accumulate and still reasonably pay off. I'm in the public service loan forgiveness, and my expected discharge date is 2027.
And first off, it's wild that she has added on to her loan over $100,000. The interest that these loans tack on is outrageous. I personally think it should be illegal, should have been illegal, shouldn't have been allowed. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are suffering because of it. Even though I believe that you should definitely pay back money that you borrow from people, it's still very sad to see these sort of interest rates on these large amount of loans. And it just makes you clutch your pearls. And a lot of people are going to struggle to pay back their student loans. And it's very sad, which is why we want to put this sort of information out so people can start to make a plan so they aren't being put in a financial bind. Additionally, I wanted to know, what did she go to school for? Because wow. And obviously, I wasn't the only one curious. It says here, what is your degree in? She replied with Doctor of Pharmacy. So, ooh, I really hope that it pays enough to where she can pay it back, because that was a lot. And somebody else replied, I'm right here with you. I'm terrified of the interest accrual. So much uncertainty.
Did anyone else hear that the SAVE plan on student loans is going to start accruing interest?
Yeah.
The way that I have been freaking out the entire day about this, the amount of student loans that I have is disgusting. And I get it. I took out the loans. I went to school. I'm going to pay it back. But I mean, all I want to do is help kids feel better. It's not my fault school's so expensive, and student loans have like a 7% interest rate on federal loans.
And the most liked comment of this video is, student loans are a scam. She replied with, the way I was scammed, and somebody else said this. Somebody replied, mine never stopped accruing interest. She replies with, oh, that's crazy. That was the whole point of SAVE. And you know what's interesting about this next comment is, this is the sentiment of a lot of people here. Just pay little by little. You're going to be all right. But she replies with, little by little, draining my bank account. And that is the problem for a lot of people. I think that they're thinking that their monthly payments are way out of reach, unreasonable, and they won't be able to make them. If this is you or anybody you know, please comment down below and let me know, is that correct? But that's been the census of a lot of people I've seen online that are worried about these interest rates now that they are not safe with the SAVE plan. Now, this woman is replying to a comment that says, what are your thoughts on the SAVE interest pause ending on August 1st? I'm super bummed.
So I'm really bummed. Flat out, I'm bummed about it. I'm personally on SAVE plan right now, and the timing of when I graduated dental school, I'm on deferment, which I'm very lucky to have gotten approved for SAVE and then got put on deferment. So I'm not accumulating interest right now, and I also don't have to pay back my loans. And I'm on deferment until April 2026. Now, I didn't know that the pause was ending on August 1st because on my account, it says it's ending April 2026. So I'll have to look into that. But I do know that some of my classmates that graduated with me in 2024 did not get approved for SAVE, and they are on a fixed repayment plan right now, which totally sucks.
Yeah.
I know they're still going to have some sort of income-based repayment plan. I just don't know what it is. And honestly, I don't want to add gray hairs to my head any sooner than I have to. So I'm just trying to go with the flow, and everything will work itself out. It will be fine. Just need a plan, talk to a professional, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. No reason to stress about things that are out of our control.
You know, and I'm kind of with her, except the fact that, ma'am, if you in the, I just read it. I read the black and white for you all straight off of the Department of Education website so everybody can be informed. Now, I don't know if she didn't get the memo. I don't know why she didn't get the memo, but I'm going to say it plainly. You can be still in deferment. That doesn't mean that you aren't in deferment. It's just going to start tacking on that interest. So if you're not logging onto your account, you may or may not see that interest being tacked on month after month because you're thinking, oh, I'm in deferment until next year. Then when you log in, you're wondering why the payments is out the wazoo. It's because of the things that I just told you all is going to go into effect August 1st, which is just a few weeks from now. This is why we don't got time to play. This is not a drill. This is not a game. Ain't Nintendo. This ain't Xbox. This ain't PlayStation. It's about to get real for a lot of people. This is a warning. I don't know what. If you're in the save plan, it's time for you to plan, because the save plan can't be your plan for too much more longer as far as the interest rates goes. Like I said earlier, that was the bright side to the save plan, is the fact that you are not paying interest. If that's going away and that was why you were able to breathe, well, you ain't able to breathe no more. You got to start figuring it out. And I love an optimistic person, don't get me wrong. Like, yes. But I know a lot of people out there have that same sentiment, like, oh, I'm not going to stress about what I can't control. I don't want to give myself gray hair thinking about it. Y'all have to think about it. Whether you think about it or not, that interest is going to do what it's going to do. And I'd hate to see somebody in a worse financial situation because they didn't think it was a big deal or they didn't need to move with a purpose about this. This is big for a lot of people in the program. Do not take this lightly. But I also do appreciate her positive spirit. We need more people like that.
I'm just going to put this out in the TikTok world. I'm a little bit frustrated. This is regarding student loans. If you don't give a crap about student loans, you can just be on your way. I have been paying on my student loans since 2008. I have never been delinquent. I have never missed a payment. And I've always made the payment that is requested. And even I've made additional payments or sometimes more than my payment.
Yeah.
I have been in the forgiveness plan since 2008. Now, when I graduated college with my degree in education, I left with a little under $28,000 in student loans.
Not bad.
I, to date, have paid $37,000 back to my student loans since 2008.
Wow.
But I still owe like $58,000. The math isn't mathing. I'm not great at math, but the math isn't mathing there. So I've actually paid off my student loans. I was rolled over into the SAVE plan. And if you aren't aware, SAVE plan currently is in litigation and it has been in forbearance, which means that you do not have to make any payments and there's no interest accruing. However, our lovely government has now decided that starting August 1st, less than 30 days notice, interest is going to start accruing on your student loans.
It's true.
So yes, think about that. Your loan is in forbearance. It's in the middle of litigation, lawsuits. You aren't required to make payments, but now interest is going to accrue, which means it's just basically going to drive up your balance.
Yeah.
Can you make payments towards just the interest? Yes, of course you can. But I've been seeing a lot on TikTok. People are like, you need to find a way to get out of the SAVE plan. Okay, let's go see. I applied back in January. I was told I wasn't eligible. They would then consider me for some other type of plan. Okay, well, here it is July 10th, and I contacted my servicer, Advantage, and they said they don't know. They directed me back to the studentaid.gov, and because it's been more than 6 months, they told me to submit an application. Working on my said application, it now tells me my repayment plan option. Yes, my payments are going to double, and I'm looking at about $900 or so a month, I guess. It's an estimate.
Right.
The problem I have with this is, as of today, in the SAVE plan, my forgiveness is now January of 2028. Prior to the litigation and everything going in forbearance, my forgiveness was January of 2027. I still make payments, even though I'm not required, and those payments do not count towards my payoff. They're just payments. If I opt, according to the studentaid.gov, if I opt to go into the only payment plan I am given, my student loan forgiveness starts over. According to this, it says I will now start again for 25 years. So 300 months, which means my forgiveness now would take effect of May of 2032. Make this make sense to me. Like, I am almost there. So do I just sit in the SAVE plan and pay the interest until the government, who has already said they're getting rid of the SAVE plan, and then I get forced into something else? But then I lose my forgiveness? Like,
the U.S. Department of Education article that we were reading earlier actually goes into detail about this. Now, I'm going to go off of the website so it's not getting confused, because this is a little bit confusing. Now, it says here in the fine print, y'all, SAVE plan borrowers working towards legal loan discharges, such as through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, must switch out of the SAVE plan to an alternative IDR repayment plan to start making qualifying payments, essentially stating that the clock is not ticking for forgiveness while you are making these repayments because they are not qualifying payments. You must switch for them to be qualifying payments. And that's even if you're currently making payments. It's saying these are not qualifying payments. Then it goes on to state borrowers who previously submitted an IDR application and selected the income-based repayment pay-as-you-earn or income-contingent repayment plan do not need to submit a new application. So essentially, according to the Department of Education, you need to switch to a legal repayment plan. And the article stated what type of repayment plans would be considered legal, like the income-based repayment, the pay-as-you-earn, or the income-contingent repayment plan. But that does not now include the SAVE plan.
I have a 20-year forgiveness, and I am almost there.
Wow.
And now they're trying to tell me if I get out of the SAVE plan, I start over.
Wow.
Like, if there's anybody out there in the world of student loans that's feeling this, frustration, anger, like, anybody need a degree in early childhood education, I will Photoshop my name off and put you on there and you can gladly have it. None of this makes sense. I have no problem making my payments, but it's like I've done my time. I have paid off my student loans that I took out, but the interest is killing me.
Yeah.
Make this make sense. Like,
honestly, she only has a few options, and it really sucks for her because she is right there. She said that this was supposed to be a wrap for her essentially in 2027. I believe that's what she said. And she's been making her payments for like 20 years or so, thinking the rest will be forgiven, and it's not going to be forgiven. Even though she's been making her payments, she's kind of in a rock and a hard place. But I wish her the best, and I hope she's able to find out a solution to her problem.
I am at a loss for words.
Yeah.
I don't regret going to school and getting my education and my degree. I don't really use it because the world of teachers is suffering, and I lost my job as a teacher to budget cuts. I'm at a loss. I don't know. There's got to be something.
So correction, it says here that SAVE is going to be dissolved. My forgiveness is in 2028. So she was right there. And let's scroll down to the comments. Now, the top comment here says, and this is what people don't understand about student loans. Most of us have already paid what we borrowed and then some. I've paid off my student loans, but I have 8 years more payments. And then somebody replied, this has nothing to do with student loans. This is how loans work. If you're paying back less than the interest accumulates, that's on you, hun. This is also another very interesting comment. It says, it's the interest that's hurting everyone. I paid mine 3 times by the end of it. It's horrible. And that is really what I want to point out. It's the interest that's doing a lot of people in, which is why this is going to be such a big deal in August. A lot of those deferred loans, people are thinking about it with no interest. Well, that's about to stop in August. So if the interest was the problem, it's definitely about to be a problem in a few weeks. Yeah, and then somebody else here said, oh my gosh, this is what people don't understand. So a lot of people are very upset about the interest rates, the compounding effect it has had on their student loans. And I'm talking about the ones that actually were making their student loan repayments, as this woman was, and a lot of other people have been doing. Not the ones that are just like, hey, I wasn't never going to pay them loans back in the first place. But from what I just read, y'all, things may be rough for many people come August 1st.
Hey, I just want to show y'all something. This is what I owe for student loans. Okay, $101,406.66. Appropriate. Okay, and then the total amount awarded. This is how much they actually gave me. For 4 years, actually, it took 6 because I switched majors. Don't hate on me. All of my college education, that is the amount of money that they gave me to spend on it. And I did. I graduated. And I had to spend some of my own money too. And I got a Pell Grant. But that's what they gave me to help out. This is what they want back.
Double.
This is what they want back. Now this, it says, see, it's kind of misleading. This says interest. It's like, well, that's not that bad, right? I mean, it's 20%, but it's not that bad. And then principal is $82,000. How is that? Because they only gave me $46,000. Well, if you click this little question mark right here, this says the loan amount you took out plus any capitalized interest and less any payments that were applied to the principal. So I had to look that up. I was like, what is the difference between capitalized interest and accrued interest? And basically, this is it. Accrued interest happens every month. Student loans are compounded monthly, kind of like mortgages or credit cards. Except for, unlike mortgages, it's not for the house that we live in and we have no asset, other than a piece of paper that gives us maybe higher earning potential. And unlike a credit card, it's not usually used for extraneous or frivolous purchases that you really can't afford. It's an education, which is an investment in yourself and in the future of America. Anyway, so it's compounded like frivolous purchases in the homes we live in. So if you don't pay the entirety of your monthly interest, which depending on your loans can be more than an affordable monthly payment, that just gets added to the principal.
Yeah.
And it basically snowballs. So they gave me $46,000, and so far they want $101,000 back. But that, I can't do that. Like, I am almost 40 years old. I could pay on that for the rest of my life and never pay it off. And that's the con. That's the goal. They never wanted people to pay off their student loans. They wanted a constant supply of passive income for the government. They basically wanted an albatross around the neck of every college kid whose parents couldn't afford to foot their bill. And that's exactly what they have. So when people say, pay it back, like, sure, I would love to. Please let me have a job that will at least pay that much, and I will be happy to return the original amount, as was the deal I was promised by every adult in my life when I was 18 with a not formed prefrontal cortex. My brain was not all the way mature.
Wow.
And everybody else is around me who was saying, go to college. It doesn't matter. Just do what you have to do to get a degree. And I did. And now everybody's like, pay it back. With what? Like, they're firing people all the time. There's layoffs. They downsize the government. So no government jobs. The private sector is cutting back. And what are we supposed to do?
And this makes me sick. Like, when she actually brought up the interest, look, I'm like this with any loan, but this, she only borrowed $47,000. So the number that she ended up having to owe back is nuts to me. Granted, there are a lot of factors that come into play, like how much payments people are making. When student loans were paused, did people take advantage of that time? I know a lot of people did. A lot of people didn't, unfortunately. People in the SAVE Act, did they take advantage of the fact that they didn't have interest for X amount of time? I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. I hope that she has a high-paying job, sincerely, so she can pay off this, because this is a lot. $100,000. I wanted to show hers because it shows those inside details of what happens with these loans. The interest rates. It's the silent things that are taking people out that aren't really being discussed, that you got to go and click that little I at the bottom and get more information about. That's what people need to know. So this was very helpful and useful. I am very sad that she has to pay this large amount of money. And I just hope that this is a cautionary tale to anybody that is looking to get student loans. I'm pretty sure the newer generations are looking at videos like this, like, hey, they're not going to get us. College is great. Getting an education is great. But please make sure the risk versus the reward is worth it for you and that you have some sort of way to pay this back. Because as we can see in these videos, a lot of people are sincerely struggling and they don't know the way out. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't know how they're going to pay it. But I also read to you guys that the government is planning to garnish wages. So I'm not sure what is lying ahead for a lot of people who have student loans, but I wish everybody the best. But y'all, let me know what you think about all this down below. Are you in the SAVE plan? Are you upset about the fact that this plan now has tacked on the interest for all the people who are in the SAVE plan, whether they're deferred or not? Do you think that this whole thing is wrong? Comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. But we have to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.